she asked me to be a part of this. So I said, sure, I'll bring some of what we do in Hanover County here. I am a first-time presenter, so bear with me, indulge me. Thank you. Do we have any first-time attendees? Fantastic. So you won't know if I do a good job or a bad job. You have nothing to compare it to, right? I'm sorry? That's right. I broke through, and I did break through the board yesterday. So thank you. Thank you. It was very surreal. If I get any lip out of you, I'm just saying. Just saying, okay? All right. So again, first-time presenter, and I'll go into a little more detail about myself a little later on, but if you'll let me indulge you for a moment, you may not be able to hear this music, but that's okay. It really doesn't matter if you hear the music or not. It's basically the video that I would like for you to watch. You don't mind? So. 21,000 slices. Come on.
My son eats 10,000 of them.
Did you? Are you 10,000 of them yourself? Ugh. That's kind of sad, isn't it?
Some annual salaries.
Can you see that? All right, so that was a 60-second video, and I'm going to ask you guys, I'm very interactive, so feel free to chime in at any time. I'm going to ask you guys, what's the common theme here for that video? 60 seconds. Right, 60 seconds. And I am not afraid of silence, so if you don't answer, I'm just going to stand here. So the class may actually take the full hour. It's up to you. It's up to you. And what does that have to do with training? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. 60 seconds. You must engage the adult learner in the first 60 seconds of your training presentation. You must engage the adult learner in the first 60 seconds of your presentation. Why? Several reasons. One is that the adult learner is usually in your class or in the training or taking training online voluntarily. It's not like they're in school. They're not going to be tested most of the time. They choose to take the classes to improve their skill level, to advance them professionally and personally. So what does that mean? That means don't waste their time. Give them what they need. They want results that they can apply right away. Secondly, again, they want applicable information. They don't want a lot of the fluff. They don't want a lot of the stuff that's really not going to apply to them as far as professionally or personally. So be very specific when you're training the adult learner in your training. And lastly, they're a little slower learners. And when I say they, let me just rephrase that. We, as adults, are slower learners than most of the age group that is still in school. But once we learn, we apply that and we have a deeper depth of learning than the adolescent learner. So you have to be patient with the adult learner, but once they got it, they got it. And one of the ways they get it is to apply what they're learning to their life skills and things that have happened in their life. So they link these things together. And when you do that, it's very effective learning. So the adult does link life experiences, but you do need to be a little more patient with them. patient with some of them. You are absolutely right. So today's agenda, I'll introduce myself. We'll go talk a little bit about train the trainer, purpose of training, qualities of a trainer, and training design. And then we'll look at some of New Hanover County's training techniques. At any time, please feel free to chime in there and give me ideas and tell us a little bit about what you do. So first of all, me. This is a horrible picture of me. I don't have any pictures of me. This is my badge picture for work, so I apologize for that, but it's the best I could do. I am the New Hanover County IT Service Coordinator. And what that means is it is a position within New Hanover County that is responsible for technology training of the end user. We have about 1,700 employees in New Hanover County, and we have several projects that we roll out, so we do have a need for training. I have been with local government for 27 years, 11 of those in finance, and then I moved over to the IT environment. I also serve on the Nickel-Giza vendor committee, so I've seen you guys. I recognize your face, and I'm sure you recognize mine, especially after yesterday's little demonstration. Woo! That's right. Woo! And I'm a proud mom of a 32-year-old. So that's a little about me. A little bit about our training environment again. We have 1,700 employees. We have soft skills that are taught to our employees through our HR department, but our technology training is actually sponsored by our IT department. And so how many of you in here are responsible for training employees or end users? Yeah, it's an interesting job. How many of you in here have had either done it yourself or have had it happen in your organization, a rollout of hardware or software within the last 6 months? Just about everybody. How many of you in here get calls on the phone about new stuff that's come out from your end users, or stopped in the hallway and they ask questions and things like that? How many of you interact with your users in that regard? So guess what? Everyone that raised their hand, you're a trainer. Whether that's your official title or your unofficial title, you're a trainer. So what's the purpose of training? Well, the purpose of training, I think, is to produce a change in your skill level, a change in your knowledge, and a change in your attitude. And let me tell you, when you produce a change in the skill level and a change in the knowledge level, the change in the attitude is automatic. You don't have to do that. When I'm in a class and I have someone who doesn't understand a specific software or doesn't understand what a specific software can do to make their job a lot better, when they get that, they're a completely different person. Their attitude has changed. They go back to their office or their workspace with this thought that I can handle this. And that encourages them to explore more possibilities. Once you get them past that fear and you get them excited about learning, then they're going to learn on their own. They're going to go out there and grab it on their own. But you have to get them to the point of excitement. And I do think that building their skills and their knowledge really does change their attitude. I found that a lot. I'm a very upbeat person. I'm not going to say that I'm at a 10 according to yesterday. I'm probably, I don't know, 7, 8. And a lot of times, whenever the classroom attendees come in, they're at a very low level. Oh God, I've got to learn this. But when they leave, I love to see that they're at a higher level when they get it, when they've learned something. So it's very important that you understand that changing their skill level and their knowledge level actually changes their attitude automatically. Another thing, purpose for training, is that a lot of organizations actually have that as a goal. How many of you in here have like a strategic plan or something within your organization that involves training? New Hanover County actually does have a strategic map, And one of the objects on that map, or one of the issues, or whatever they're called on the map, I don't even read the map to be honest with you, is that we provide the training that is needed and necessary to our employees in order to prepare them to be better public servants. And basically, as a trainer, I'm not really involved with the public. However, I am what I do is directly related to how they interact with the public. So in a way, I am. Just like in a way, you are trainers, if you are asked questions about how a specific software works or hardware when you're walking down the hall or when you're on the phone. So being a trainer it's not about a title. It's not about a position. It's about an attitude. How can I help the people in my organization do a better job for the citizens? And that's what it's all about. Any questions so far? Oh, we are going to be here forever. No, I'm only kidding. Qualities of a trainer. Self-confidence. Don't confuse self-confidence with knowing everything. You have to feel good about what you do. I'm going to do the best job I can do today. Whether you get anything out of it or not, I don't know. But I know I'm going to do the best that I can do. And that to me is self-confidence. It does take a little bit of self-confidence to stand in front of a room of people and to talk. And I'm going to tell you, how can I say this politically correct without upsetting anyone?
Don't do that.
Don't? Just say it? Okay, all right. Thank you.
I'm sick of that. Just say it.
Just say it. Well, I'm in IT. I work in IT. The hardest group to train is IT. IT. Oh, I really am never nervous or concerned about any other training except when I'm in front of my own group of people. Because IT people are analytical, and they're a thought process. And you know what? They don't really want you to stand in front of them and tell them what to do. Just give them something to read and let them go and do it. I mean, you're wasting my time, Pam. Right? Basically, yeah. Oh, really? Ooh. That's not a good thing. Okay. Sorry. There we go. So yeah, IT is the worst group for me to train. But again, they have their qualities too. Ability to build bridges or to relate. A lot of adult learners have a lot of experience, and everybody's different in the jobs that they do and in their personal life. And it really helps when you can relate to them and to make them feel comfortable where they are. You're going to have a lot of different levels of learners. Sometimes classes can be one group that everybody in there is about the same level, and then there are other classes where you'll find several different levels, but you're going to have to find a way to relate to all of those levels. First, there are some groups in my county that I train that I will not use any acronyms. Oh my God. They're just like, what are you talking about? And I understand that, because a lot of times when I'm talking to someone in IT in my department, they're using acronyms, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. That's not part of what I do. So when you're with that group, be aware that maybe acronyms are not the best thing to use. Certainly if you're with an IT group, they kind of like it when you use acronyms. So you have to decide about your group yourself, kind of have a knowledge of them and what's going on. Another thing, I'll give you an example. How many of you watch Rachel Ray? No, only one person watches Rachel Ray, the chef, or super chef? That's right. Oh my God. How many people have seen Rachel Ray? Thank you, sir. Well, I used to watch Rachel Ray, but I stopped because there was one thing that she did that got on my nerves so bad. EVOO. And then she would say extra virgin olive oil. And then 10 minutes later, EVOO, extra virgin olive oil. And I thought, why are you wasting my time using the acronym and then saying what it means? Come on, people, just either say it or don't say it. And you have to kind of think like that when you're in IT, because we like acronyms in IT. We really, really, really like acronyms. So when you're building a bridge and relating to others, kind of be aware of what your audience is. Organizational skills. This one, you do need to be organized to a degree. I think that a lot of times when you're training groups outside of the IT department, a lot of times when you show a little bit of vulnerability, a little disorganization, I'm not saying be disorganized, but don't be so stringent and so rigid that your organizational skills kind of sets them off. There is nothing more exciting to someone in a class for you to pretend, or maybe you don't know how to do something, sometimes I don't, or to pretend I don't know how to do something, and have them show me. To jump in there and say, hey, I think if you push that button, it is fantastic for them. It really boosts their ego, and then they just really want to learn. And they've changed that attitude. Desire to learn. You have to have a desire to learn. I don't know a lot about the technical aspects of IT. I don't think I have enough time on this earth left to learn all the technical stuff that IT guys do. And I mean, I don't say that disrespectfully because that is my department. And I'm probably the only extrovert in my department, by the way. But I do have a desire to learn. And I will ask them questions about how something works. Can you give me the background of why it works the way it works? Just so I'll have a better understanding. I'm never at a point where I think, oh, I know I got the class, I got all my training done, I don't really need to know anything else. No. The ability to listen. Listen to what your class is saying to you. And sometimes you're listening to nonverbal communication. Be aware of what's going on in your class. You won't hold everyone's attention. We are a world of electronic devices. I don't know that I've ever taught a class where everyone in the class actually paid attention the whole time, unfortunately. I do know that in our organization, this became such a problem with other departments that they actually require that you leave your devices in a basket when you came into the room. So, you know, it is good to listen and to interact with your group, and listen to what they're saying verbally and non-verbally, and have a sense of humor. I mean, it just relaxes everybody. It relaxes you as a presenter, makes it a lot easier for you. You know, how many saw me yesterday up on stage? I'm a little disappointed that I did not get every hand in this room up.
You were pretty intense.
I wasn't pretty intense.
You look scared to death at first.
You know, I was okay, and I knew that he was going to pick me somehow. I just knew it. And I was okay until I got up there. And then I thought, oh my, what in the have I done? Jumped right up in here. Yeah. So now, for the rest, from yesterday on, even though you guys chanted my name like a bazillion times, I heard you. It's on my badge. It's on the projector at the end. It's in the book. Guess what my name is now? I'm walking down the hall. I'm like, really, people? You know, but I don't care. It's funny, and it makes them happy, so it makes me happy that they're happy. So have a sense of humor. Laugh at yourself as a trainer, because you're going to have a lot of times when that's going to happen, and it's fun. If you're not having fun, find something else to do, because you don't have so many circles around the earth or the sun before it's all over with. And communicate effectively. Say what you mean what you say, and don't use big words or acronyms if you can avoid it to do that. Talk to your people like they're your friends, like you want to, like you would have a conversation with them if you were having a conversation over a glass of wine or dinner, because they are your friends. we spend a lot of time with the people that we work with. And if we don't take that time to build a relationship with them, we've wasted a lot of our lives. So my attendees in my classes are my friends. A lot of times we talk about things that have nothing to do with the class. Any questions so far? Lord. All right, so we talked a little bit about the adult learner and training. So let's talk a little bit about how you present that training. I have a class that I have I hold in Hanover County. It's called PowerPoint Presentations. Wow. And WOW is not an acronym for anything. It's for wow.
And it's not woo.
It's not woo.
It's wow, okay.
It's wow. And it's a lengthy class. It's about an hour's class. So when I went through that and looked at it, I did a lot of research for industry standards and what's the best way to present, especially in a PowerPoint. I went through that and I picked out what I thought were the best points. And like I said, I don't want to keep you here all day, and I'm not going to go into all kinds of detail because, quite frankly, I'm tired, you're tired. I'm going to give you what you need to do what you need to do. Those 3 points were keep it simple. Come on, how hard is that? Use high quality graphics in your presentation and use a black font with 1 highlight color. So let's start with keep it simple. Begin with the end in mind. When you're presenting, your audience should know what the class, the presentation, or the training is going to be about within the first few slides. If you get to the end of a presentation and they've sat there for 45 minutes to an hour and you say, I hope everyone has enjoyed our presentation on XYZ, and you get a lot of really funny looks, then you really did not begin with the end in mind. They have no idea that that's what you were talking about. Another thing is when you begin with the end in mind, you are able to shorten a lot of the time that you would spend presenting. I had a soft skills training that I was an attendee the other day, and the gentleman who was presenting it asked me to help him with a projector. So I sat by his laptop during the presentation. And I was fine. It was going great. He was presenting a lot of stuff until I looked down and saw that he had 126 slides. And I said, there is no way. I don't have that kind of time left on earth. Come on. He did rush through them. That was great. But that's excessive. Keep your slides to a minimum. You are the presenter. Everyone should be watching you, listening to you. Your presentation, the PowerPoint presentation or whatever you use, is just a backup to you. So there's no reason to have 126 slides to explain anything unless you know it's quantum physics. And then that's a whole different story. That's a whole different story. On your slides, it is recommended that you use 3 to 4 points per slide. Now, a lot of times we have a lot of information to relay, so that kind of makes it difficult, but I recommend just continuing your slides, because if you have a slide that has a lot of information, you're going to lose your audience. They're going to be reading and not listening to you, and it's going to take so long that you've lost their interest. So 3 to 4 points is the industry recommendation on your slides. Talk a little bit about graphics. The industry recommendation, again, is that you use high quality graphics. If you'll notice, this graphic has a white background that matches with the background of my slide. Therefore, the object in the graphic, the picture itself, kind of stands out and catches your eye when you flip to that slide, and that's what you want to do. So if your background in your presentation is blue, then you'll need to find something with a blue background. You want to try to match those slides unless you want to go into Photoshop or something and crop it and do a lot of extra work, which you can do that, but it's a lot easier just to use a white background and a white slide. As cute as they are, it is not recommended that you use cartoons anymore. People relate to the real thing. Do you want to see a picture of a dog or a cartoon dog? You relate to the picture of the dog better. So cartoons are out. And this is one that I get a lot of argument about, but it's just the way it is. Cartoons are out according to industry standards. Use only one easy to read font and one highlight color. This highlight color is this green color because I did not change it from my original presentation, and I was using this to match with the color scheme of the group that I was presenting to. Be aware of your group. If you have some visually impaired members in the group and you know that, then you'll want to adjust your highlight colors to accommodate their impairment. And I'll tell you an interesting story. In our county, several of the department heads present different things to the county manager, and there was one particular department head, we won't mention any names, but anyway, their presentation was flashy. Oh, wow. Lots of color, lots of animation, lots of everything. Guess what? Our county manager is colorblind. It was useless. I mean, they spent a lot of time, but they didn't know their audience. So he actually found it very difficult to read a lot of what was on that slide. So if you do know those things, please try to accommodate your audience. Again, use a very clear font. Use a black font. If your background of your slide is dark, then you'll want to use a white font. Black and white. None of the cutesy stuff anymore. That's not recommended, it's not the industry standard, and it's not effective. So, I'm going to show you a little bit about how New Hanover County does training. Be very brief. And then, we'll have a question and answer session. First of all, this is our intranet page. This is where we land, our shorelines page in New Hanover County. But this is part of the page. If you'll notice on the, let's see, you guys are looking on the left-hand side, there is an IT support section. That section houses our project updates. It's a link to our project updates portal. It's a link to the My Support page where we can have our employees can go in and enter their ticket if they have a help desk ticket. We have a third-party help desk vendor for level 1. So those tickets go out of state and then somehow always make it back to North Carolina. I don't understand that. But anyway, and as an aside, what do you guys think the most commonly asked or issued in the help desk is from the end user? Password. What's that about? Uh-oh. What is that about? Passwords. People. Come on. So, yeah, I just find that very interesting, especially since I have done now 3 password tip of the weeks, and we'll talk about that a little later. But in the middle there, you'll see a tip of the week. When you click on that, you're taken to the IT training portal. First, the tip of the week is a video series that I do every week. It's about a minute and a half long, sometimes 2 minutes, depending upon what the subject matter is. I do these with Camtasia. Are you guys familiar with Camtasia? Anybody? Raise your hand. I love it. It's pretty cool. Then I use Camtasia, and I also use the information that we get from our third-party vendor or help desk vendor as to what the majority of calls were that week. And there are always passwords, and I'm not doing another password video, people. Come on. And information from our analyst within the IT department as to what they're finding is that most of our users are having trouble with, and also our user support. So that kind of drives what video that I produce for the week. In these videos, you click on them, you just, like I said, a minute and a half, watch the video. It's very clear. It's usually just an actual video of me working on the computer to tell you how to do it. It's step by step. And sometimes I throw in a little bit of music, sometimes not. And then the second part, the center, is our IT training calendar. We actually have a training program where you sign up through Munis and Munis Self-Service. And so we offer training, classroom training and webinar training. So everyone signs up and gets credit for that. We don't have any mandatory IT classes right now. I think we need to have some technology classes that are mandatory, but we don't, so it's all voluntary. Again, webinars have been very popular right now with our group because everybody's kind of spread out. It makes it a little easier. But you sign up for them there, and I do populate that calendar with whatever classes that I'm having that week. And then last is our frequently asked questions section, and that is basically just hard copy. They can print it off and have an answer to their question. So that's how we train in New Hanover County. Again, we do have about 1,700 employees. We do use third-party trainers. Our project right now, we are ending our upgrade to 2016 because our next project is Office 365. So we did have some 2013 scragglers out there. So we did, that should end this week, and then we'll start the Office 365 rollout. And we do have a third-party vendor that will be helping us with that rollout. But I will also be offering on-site training of the day of your deployment, and classroom and webinar training for that. So sometimes my training is led by what the IT department is doing. Sometimes it's led by what the what county employees find most difficult for that month. Sometimes it's led by just whatever I want to do if there's nothing going on. So it's really an opportunity to share with them some skills that makes their job easier and kind of boosts their attitude and their self-confidence. Sure.
Your HR department, when they're hiring or looking at applicants for other departments, do they require a competency test?
Yes. We do have an e-skills test that is that they are now using. That is relatively new within New Hanover County, but they do require that.
So you all don't have to deal with simple proficiency issues, training issues?
We won't have to deal with those anymore since they've got that test that they're administering. However, from all of the existing employees, yes, we do. I do teach a basic PC skills class because we do have a lot of employees that have even that level of proficiency, and they need that class. So yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions or comments?
So, do the people know to go to that website and look at videos? Are they there? And the staff just goes and looks when they get emails to say go and look at the website or videos?
I threaten. No, the way that works is we actually do have announcements. You couldn't see it on that page, but the other side of our Shorelines page is it changes. It's updated with announcements. And anytime I have a new video, I do put out an announcement that there is a video available out there to be viewed. It is a kind of a push just to Shorelines. I don't push out to everyone via email. I think that's a great idea, but we're not there yet. We will use that with our third-party vendor when we roll out 365. Then we'll get a push that says 365 is coming, and this is the training that's available for that when it gets here. Any other questions?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of.
Do we have metrics for that?
Use the website.
Mm-hmm. We do have metrics for that. We have that from our third-party vendor. We have that from our internal website, and we have also some metrics from our help desk, our level 1 help desk vendor. So we kind of know after we put out a video, if those numbers go down a little bit, how effective. We use that to determine how effective that video or that training was.
What are you using for your intranet?
Internet is SharePoint. Yeah. Any other questions?
What's the training software you said?
Production software is Camtasia. Yeah, have you guys used that before? It's pretty cool. I like it. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty cost effective, actually. So it's Camtasia, yes.
Before, but do you all have a learning management system?
Okay, explain what you're asking me.
So our HR has a learning management system, and they have hundreds of classes where you can go, and employees can go in, and they can take classes. Some of them are IT, like they have to work themselves,
Yes.
and they're all video.
We do. We actually, HR requires that we take, well, not HR, actually, management requires that we take 2 courses that they choose what they are for the year, and that's everyone within the county. And then we have 2 courses that we choose. It can be IT related or soft skills, whichever you prefer. Again, there are no IT mandatory classes yet, but I think that's a great idea. And there is, they do monitor that, and that does actually affect your merit if you do not complete those classes as required.
And the question, I think, is where are you managing that? Where are you keeping up with the classes they're taking and the requirements and stuff?
HR manages the soft skill classes that are taken.
But not in a program. I mean,
Is there a system?
assistant.
Oh, I'm
yeah,
sorry.
but-
Yes, what is the name of theirs? We call it PCU. It's, God, I hardly ever look at that. I shouldn't say that out loud, should I? Skillsoft is the software that we use to do that. And then our enrollment process is handled through Munis self-service. So you enroll in the Skillsoft classes via Munis, not using the Skillsoft. Any other questions? Fantastic. Thank you guys very much. I hope you will be able to take some of this back with you and apply it. And if you have any questions, my email's up here, pamhow@nxcgov.com. Please feel free to email me. I'll be happy to answer them or find the answer for you. Thank you. Woo!